Syrian army continue to chase foreign-backed terrorists in many areas across the country, killing numbers of them, wounding others and destroying their vehicles and ammunitions. Nasrallah says the Saudi regime and intelligence agencies are responsible for sending the ISIS terrorists into Syria and Iraq. Scores of people killed or wounded as a result of airstrikes launched by Saudi warplanes against Yemeni cities. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian Arab television in Damascus. Syria's permanent representative at the United Nations, Dr. Bashar al-Jafari, affirmed that Syria has a unique fabric from all spectrums who live together on the basis of fraternity and peaceful coexistence. During the UN Security Council session on the protection of minorities' rights, Dr. al-Jafari affirmed that conspiracy against Syria aims to change this unique fabric into conflicting minorities and ethnic divisions in service of the Zionist project in the region. He added that the crisis in Syria proved that the Syrian people were aware of the conspiracy and foiled it. Al-Jafari referred to the recent attacks launched by terrorist organizations against the city of Busra Sham, supported by some regional and Arab states. He concluded that it is inevitable to combat the Takfiri thought in the region, which is sponsored by Turkey, Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Secretary General of Hezbollah Party, Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, said that the true motivation behind the Saudi aggression on Yemen is the desire of al-Saud to dominate and sabotage it after they failed and lost any control over it. In a speech delivered yesterday, Nasrallah said it is the right of the Yemeni people to defend themselves, calling for stopping the aggression and urging Arab leaders who will meet in Egypt to work towards that and push towards a political solution instead of being partners in shedding blood and destroying Yemen. Nasrallah said that the Saudi regime and intelligence agencies are responsible for sending the ISIS terrorists into Syria and Iraq, funding and arming these terrorists and to destroy the two states in the two countries, adding that the Saudis are also working to prevent the political solution in Syria. Units of the Syrian army and armed forces directed heavy strikes against gatherings of Takfiri terrorist organizations which infiltrated into the surroundings of the National Museum and near the industrial area in the eastern entrance of Idlib city, killing hundreds of them. In Aleppo, units of the army and armed forces destroyed terrorist gatherings in the villages of Al-Awayjeh, Al-Manashir, Ash-Qayf, and in the surroundings of Adwar Zaytun and to the west of Bishkwai in the countryside of the city. In Homs, the Syrian army destroyed a vehicle equipped with heavy machine gun in Talbisi and killed a number of terrorists in the eastern countryside of the city. Meanwhile, the army killed a number of terrorists in Ma'adat al-Baida and Al-Lajat area in the countryside of Dar'a to the south of the country, destroying a number of vehicles and eliminating terrorists on board these vehicles near Khazan al-Msherfi village on the countryside of Qunaytira. In related context and in the northern and the eastern countryside of Homs in central Syria, Syrian army units targeted terrorist gatherings, killing scores of terrorists and destroying their weapons. An army unit also foiled an attempt made by terrorists to infiltrate into Jimbi Jarrah, killing and wounding a number of them. In Sweida, a countryside, about 20 terrorists were killed in an ambush near Tel al-Khalidiyya. A vehicle for terrorists was also destroyed. In Damascus countryside, Syrian army units established full control over a number of hills in the western mountains of al-Zabadani. Terrorist dens were also targeted, and scores of terrorists were killed or wounded during the operations. Moving to Iraq, sources in the Iraqi police have stressed that the citizens wounded through an explosive device near Baghdad were targeted in a suicide attack. Al-Anbar security forces confronted a terrorist attack by ISIS east of al-Ramadi, while the military operations leadership has announced the killing and wounding of about 22 ISIS terrorists, noting that the Iraqi army continues its military operations in Tikrit, which has become empty since the beginning of the operations. The Yemeni army has shot down a plane in Beni Zaid area to the north of Sana'a, the capital. In the meantime, al-Assad regime continues its air aggression over Yemen, where its planes shelled new positions. Yemeni sources said that the raids included the Yemeni armies and Ansar Allah oppositions, as well as residential neighborhoods in Sana'a, Arhab, Sa'da, Ma'rib and Al-Hadida. The raids also targeted the houses of senior officials, including the houses of former President Ali Abdullah Saleh and his relatives, and the presidential palace, which led to the martyrdom of about 20 civilians and the injury of several others. The artillery of the Saudi army also shelled mountains and hills in Sa'da area to the north of Yemen, while the air defense shot down a Saudi reconnaissance drone. Meanwhile, the Yemeni army forces clashed with armed men belonging to the resigned President Abd Rabbu Mansour Hadi in Adan and Abyan, making an advance towards Al Ain and Bihin towns. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, www.syrianline.sy. Now stay with us, the latest in the world of business and market news with Nariman, but after a short break.